Hello everyone, I'm Swapna from first year chemical engineering. I'm very excited to host this talk because of our top speaker. Let us start the session with an invocation by Sohab.
Good evening, sir. Good morning, all. This is who we are. We are a team, talented, energetic, astonishing mindsets. We can do anything and everything. We talk, we care, we respect each other. We see beauty in everything. We are connected by hearts and driven by values. We celebrate each other, we provide value to each other. We take ownership in everything we do. We have freedom to make mistakes. We learn as we go. We are mad to make a difference. We love disruptive ideas. We make impossible things possible. We are strong to question the creation. We believe in dreaming big. If we do not dare to dream big, are we really living? Why be ordinary when we can be extraordinary? We should be driven by our goals, not by egos. We can do it, we will do it. Let us not hope for the best, let us be the best. This is who we are. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Sohab.
That
Next,
that's beautiful.
gratitude. It made our day, right? Let us listen a gratitude story by Shravanti.
Thank you, Swapna. Good morning, everyone. We have another gratitude story this week. So, this is my story as well as the story of my gratitude team. I thought gratitude can be shown to people we know, but we can show our love and gratitude towards others even if we don't know them. Sanjana Akka has come up with an idea of writing gratitude cards to the people of an old age home. She collected the information from the head of that old age home regarding their interest. Our Soap Gratitude team have made cards for them just to let them know that we all are there for them. Each one of them has fought their own battles in their life. Their stories are truly inspirational. Can you guess what their response was? Their reaction was priceless. The head of the old age home praised us for coming forward to show our love. Gratitude acts as a strong invisible bond which can connect people. Your single act of kindness can make someone's day happier as well as yours. We may not give everything they want, but we can show our love and gratitude and see the infectious smiles on their faces. Thank you, Akka, for making our team a part of this good cause. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shravanti, for your beautiful gratitude story. So let me introduce our top speaker. He is very great personality and who believe that where destiny takes you, but again destiny is where you are now. He is none other than Shravan Miriala sir. He completed his engineering Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering at Usmania University. He completed his MS in Mechanical Engineering and Applied Mechanics as well as PhD in Chemical Engineering from University of Royal Ireland. He is Senior Manager at Oracle. He is specialized in big data, data science, database administration, data science, data analysis, data modeling, master data management, data integration, enterprise solutions architecture, data governance, and data management. He is skilled in business intelligence, data warehousing, software development lifecycle databases, and database administrations. Very excited, right? Actually, we are upcoming. Today's our topic is a manager. What expect from a employees? We are upcoming employees, right? So we need to know about this topic. So over to you, sir.
Great. So you said you said a lot about me, but those are all the well. I did a lot of. I started working since '94. Some of the before any of you are born probably. So since '94, that's how many years? 36 years, right? So I worked in various industries, right, and with various personalities, and I was an employee myself. I was a consultant. So when I say consultant, I'm reporting to somebody at a customer, but I'm not their employee, right? But at the same time, I'm like an employee because I need to deliver what is expected of me. But there is a difference. When you're employee, you know, the employer or whoever you're reporting to has a different expectation than a consultant. When you say you're hired as a consultant, he puts more burden on you. Like he doesn't even want to waste a single minute teaching you something, right? Or you say, I don't know this. That is not acceptable, right? So there is different uh, expectations being a manager, depending on who you are. But there are some general common denominators, right, that you expect from any employee. When I say employee, that means you are working at a company and you are accountable to some person, right? And you are given certain tasks or responsibilities. How you go about delivering those? You deliver based on your own perspective, right? Based on your own thinking. But the manager may be expecting something else. So when you put yourself in the shoes of the manager, you know what are the things that he would like to see in you, right? That's what this is about. Now this is not specific to any job or industry or specialization or a major or the field, right? This is in general. So if these uh, few things that I'm going to talk about today, if we can grasp those perspective of the manager, you will be you'll put yourself on a fast track to success to any of the. It can be a project, it can be a job, it can be a consulting work, right? Anywhere. All right. So can I present? I have a PowerPoint deck. I will share with all of you later, or if you can send me an email, I will share it with you. But let me go through those slides first. So I titled this topic. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. We can.
Okay. Yeah. So this is about thrill. I titled this "Thrill Yourself and Thrill Your Manager." What that means is, if you are true to yourself, right, and you thrill yourself, that also means your manager will get automatically thrilled with you, right? So, so what a manager expects from his employees. Now, so there's these are the top major five I picked, right? Because if you do just these five, that already puts you in this circle of excellence, right? So let's go through each of these. Okay. uh, I don't want to uh, discuss this here. We will go through each of these five qualities. Okay. Now at the bottom of each slide I put something, a small tidbit. I would like you to, when you look at these, I also want look at the small footers here as well, right? That makes you think later when I share the deck. But we will go through all of this. Okay. So the first quality, this is the most important of all the qualities, is you have to own it. When I say you have to own it, let's say you are given a task, or let's say you agreed on a task, right? It is not, you shouldn't be thinking, okay, he gave a task to me. Okay, so I will try to do that today. Oops, sorry. Um, I cannot do it because I don't have this information, or something else came up, or I need to talk to someone about this task, right? So you won't get that done, let's say that day. Okay. So now the next day comes along, right? But you said you don't have that information, or you don't have that person. Uh, let's say he's on vacation, right? Or that he needs to give you information. So you leave the task aside, but the manager is expecting that you're working on the task. That means there is a progress going on. It's going to be done soon, right? But there's nothing happened so far. But you have an excuse, right? You can say that person is not around, or you can say, I don't have this information. So, what the manager is expecting, once he puts a task in your lap, right, you own it. That means you go find out, okay, if that person is not around, you go either ask your manager yourself, or ask somebody relevant, some other team member. It could be some other team, right? Depending on what information you're looking for, you can go to the right person or some other person and find that information. Or you can do your own research depending on what the task is. If there's a missing information, you can go, okay, where can I find this information? Not, don't expect the manager to hand it down to you, right? So when I say ownership, that means you feel like, okay, task is my responsibility, and I need to complete it. I need to finish it no matter what. So when you stop at the first step itself, okay, I don't have this information. You haven't taken all the further steps at all, right? When you say, when you're blocked with, okay, I don't have this information, or this person is not around, who else can provide? You have to ask yourself, who else can provide me with this information? Who else can help me? I need to get this task done. Who can help me finish this task, or you know achieve this result, right? Or what information do I need? Where can I go get it? That information. So I'm just saying it can be any task, right? It could be writing a program, finding a solution. It doesn't matter what it is, right? But it is the feeling of ownership. That means once it's given to you, somebody is trusting you to get it done, right? That manager is trusting you to get it done. So you may be conveying your progress to him, say, okay, I don't have this information, but the story doesn't stop there, right? You have to go find out everything that you need to get the task done. That is called ownership. That means you shouldn't expect the manager to remember and come back and follow up with you. Hey, did you do that task? Did you complete it? What is the status of it? You should be able to go to him or her and say, this is what is the status. I finished this 80% today. This 20%, I'm waiting for this information. I'm going to go get this information, and then this will get done tomorrow. So, you're all familiar with the cricket, right? So if I throw a ball at you, the bowler, right? You can hit. You don't have to take a run. You can take only one run. You can take only two runs, depending on how you hit it, right? If you hit it's a sixer, that's the maximum. Nobody can question that one anymore, right? That means you did 100% justice to that ball. Same thing with your task. When you take ownership, when somebody says this is task is for you, I'm giving it to you, they should never have to come back and ask you, am I finished? Where is the status of that one? Oh, oops, I forgot about it. Or, oh yeah, I have other things came up, so that I'm not doing anything. But the manager is expecting that you're taking responsibility, right? So all those, we have to pass all those things, right? So the only thing in your mind at that time should be, how can I get this done? Right? So it's not excuses. Anything else you give is an excuse. But the main thing is, how do you overcome those obstacles or excuses, right? To to actually result in a full execution of your task. Make sense? So that is the ownership. Now let's see the next quality. I'll give you some time to ask questions later on each of these. Okay, the quality two is asking the right questions. What that means is, let's say you are given a task. You have some idea about it, or you don't have any idea about it, right? But before you say what is this, before you are going asking, okay, oh, I need to know, let's say your task requires to find some information, right? Like, let's say it's like a building. Okay, I say the task is build a table. Okay, when you say build a table, then you need to know the dimensions, right? You can build a 10-foot table or you can build a 2 feet table, right? So there are some details that you would like, but first you need to uh, go and do your own homework. What are the things I need? Oh, I need to build the table. What are the information do I need? Right? You cannot say, um, the for example, let's say it's a table, right? So it has dimensions, it has weight, what material you want to build it with, right? But you don't need a salt for it, right? Like it's like for cooking. So what I'm trying to say is that's kind of a silly example, but it's a good example. It's demonstrating the point is first you need to frame your right questions before you go and start asking information, right? If I say build a table, you need to ask the right questions. Okay, what should be the height, the width, what material it should be made of, what color it should be, right? How much weight it should hold, that then you know whether it should be a wood or it should be a stick or it should be a steel, right? So based on all that information, so first you need to do your homework before when you're given a task. So that means it involves four main things. First, you need to understand what is this task, right? Then, using your knowledge, your expertise, your experience, and your intelligence, right? You analyze it and see what information do you have about it, what are the other information that is missing. Then you frame your questions properly, right? That means very specific questions. So you form your very specific questions. For example, the location of the table. Because let's say the room is or the space is very small, right? For example, uh, let's say the table. I want the table 5 feet long, but the space you're giving me is only 2 feet by 2 feet. The table doesn't fit there, right? But that's the missing information. But that when you do your homework, you need to know, okay, is there enough space to put a 5 feet table there, right? So that is all is part of analyzing, right? Identify what is the missing information. Prepare your specific questions clearly, and then you get your answers. So you go to your manager and say, okay, this is all the information I need to proceed with this task. So it should be intelligent questions. So how do you come up with intelligent questions? By doing all these top four bullets, right? Understand, analyze, identify the missing information, and framing or preparing your questions very to the point, right? To the very specific questions. The most important thing that annoys managers is If you go, do not repeat the question again the next day because you do not want to waste time. Remember, your manager is busy, your colleagues are busy, everybody is busy. So this part doesn't apply just to managers. It could be any of your colleagues or co-workers or some other senior, architect or a designer, right? It doesn't matter whoever it is. We don't when we go somebody for help and get some information, ask the questions, they gave some information. If we don't do our own diligence of taking the notes or remembering it, or if you have a lot of other things, or there's a chance you'll forget, it's always a good habit. Take notes or write it down somewhere. Okay, this is what he said about this particular question, right? So you don't have to go back and again ask that person again and waste their time. You know, especially maybe once it is fine in once in a while, right? Everybody does mistakes. But if it is a habit of, you go back and keep asking the same question 3 or 4 times, or for every bit of information you need, either it's today or tomorrow or next week, every time you go and it's not you're asking once, but more than once, that is wasting their time, and you are misusing that resource, right? Because in future he may not be or she may not be willing to help you anymore to give the information, right? Because they know you're not showing seriousness in the task or whatever you're asking. So that is very important for the once you ask and get your answers, you need to keep track of that. All right. So that is why all this asking the right questions. That means your time with that person is more efficient, like effective, right? You're utilizing that their time properly. Instead of spending 2 hours discussing this and that, all the details, if you already did your homework, you can get your answers within the 20 minutes or a half an hour meeting, not 2 hour meeting. Or again, you have to schedule another meeting, right? So by doing this, you're not wasting your time or so that other person's time. You're getting what you want and both walk away happily, right? Because that person, he exactly understands what you're asking. They want you to be successful too, right? So when you go with the correct, uh, the right amount of help you want, right? People are always willing to help you. Okay. Next, quality number 3. If you just go to the manager with a problem, that's a no-no, right? You should always, when you say you hit a problem, right, you hit a roadblock in completing your task, it's not just a problem and go and complain to your manager. So, look, this is not happening, that is not happening. Oh, so, right? Or this I don't have it, or I'm having trouble with this, or if you just go with the complaint on the problem and you're expecting the manager to solve your problem, yes, there could be some occasions, but it shouldn't be a habit. Some occasions you may not have a solution at all, right? You cannot come up with a solution. So in that case, yeah, so that's a once in a while, but it's not. But every time, have you done your part completely? When you go with a problem, because we are intelligent, you have your knowledge, what would you do to solve that problem, right? It can be solved this way or that way or a fourth way, right? So there could be multiple solutions. So when you go to the manager, don't go with the complaining about just with a complaint or a problem or a concern. You should always go with the solution. That means you explain the problem to him, and also You say, okay, this is what I believe we should do to get over this problem, right? So you should always go with the solution to that problem as well. Then the manager doesn't have to think too much. Then he will evaluate. Then let's say you give three options. Solution one, I go approach this person instead of this person. Solution two is, instead of this much uh, let's say it's some design, right? Instead of this expensive component, we can, get away with by using this type of material or this type of chemical, right? Or this other process that will reduce the cost of this, right? So you always go with the, if there are multiple solutions you take, that you come up with, you also present, but at the same time you need to make a recommendation, especially if you have more than one solution, right? It's not just, okay, these are the three options I have, you pick. No, the manager is not going to pick. He or he is looking at you to see what would you do in his shoes. So you have three solutions, then that means he is also looking for your recommendation. That means you will you will give him reasoning, right? Oh, actually I have this solution 1, 2, and 3, but I say that we should go with solution 2 because, you know because of these three benefits, right, which other solutions do not offer. So you always go with at least one solution. If there are multiple solutions, then you think through with a good recommendation, so that the most of the time when you go with the problem to the manager, you already went with the solutions, right? So most of the time it's spent is in deciding what solution to pick. Then the manager is happy because he knows you stumbled, you stumbled into a, like a roadblock, but he also came up with this. Then he doesn't have to spend, he can trust you, right? Because you're owning the problem, you're coming up with solution. He'll just say, okay, good, go with solution two, right? He's happy. All right. Now, quality number 4, be your manager. That means, let's say the manager is not around, he give you a task. You be your own manager at that time. Okay. What that means, whatever you have committed to your manager. So let's say this week you want to get task A, B, C, you committed to those. I will get those things done. If you are committed, then deliver it. Deliver it means, being a manager means being true to yourself. Because the manager is walks away. He trusts you. He gave you the task. He goes away because, remember, he may have 100 employees or 50 employees, right? How can he go follow up with every person? What are the tasks given to you? Is it done? What is the progress? All those things. The best employee, or if you want to thrill the manager or thrill yourself, that means the task you are given to you, and the manager is trusting you that you will finish those, then you be your manager. That means you follow up on those tasks. Today you haven't finished one task because of some problem, because of something else you're dragged into, because something else became urgent, right? But tomorrow doesn't mean we put that on the roadside, right? The original task. You go back, you re-estimate or whatever, you think, okay, okay, the other two tasks are not urgent. This one is urgent. I already committed to this. Let me finish this one. So you need to manage your own task depending on the priority, your time allocated, right? Let's say within the given time it cannot be done, then you should go and talk to the manager and say, look, these three tasks, I'm supposed to finish this week, but this one is actually takes 4 days. because looking at the details of it. So if there is something that you committed to, let's say I finished these 3 tasks this week, but for whatever the reason it cannot be completed, that always you should communicate to the manager. So nobody is in the dark, right? And second thing is, being your manager means you're sincerely addressing all those tasks, whether it's today, tomorrow, whatever the timeline, because or you do 3 at the same time, little bit, depending on, you know, because if let's say you're building some some chemical experiment or some product, right? It has to cure for a day. So it does mean we sit around and not do anything. We have some other tasks that we can work on. So you need to learn to multitasking, right? So that's where all your intelligence, time management, being true to yourself, all those come in. You break those tasks down, you manage your time. Oh, I will work on this next, I will work on this today, while I'm waiting for this task one, for it to finish, I'm going to start working on task two, and so on. But do not depend on the manager to remind you the task. Do not expect him to come and ask you, hey, what happened to the task? What happened to that you said you will deliver on Tuesday, but today is already Thursday and you haven't said anything about that to me. Then you say, oh no, I ran into this problem with it. Then how come you didn't come and talk to me about it? Because we needed that by Wednesday. That means I was expecting you to finish Tuesday. So there are expectations, because remember, the manager might have committed based on what you promised to somebody else, right? It will be some other department, but there are a lot of other things that depend on your task, right? Now everything else will be pushed out because you delayed your task and you haven't communicated on that one. If it is, if it cannot be completed because of whatever the reason, or if you finished it, but you're finishing it late, or you're finishing on time, whatever it is, it has to be, the communication should be very straightforward. Once you committed it, that means it's given to you, you agree on it, then it's now the entire responsibility is on you to deliver, not the manager to follow up with you, right? That is where just doing a job versus excellence. You're showing excellence by by delivering on what you promised, right? So that means that is, be your own manager. That includes time management, that includes your task management. Should I do this today? Should I break this down into 3 subtasks? Shall I do it to first subtask today? Then because I have to wait for that to finish till tomorrow. So all those depends on you, how you break it down, but to meet those deadlines for those tasks, right? That's what this means. And the last quality is documenting. So let's say you finished your task, okay? So let's say it is about setting up your laptop for a new employee, right? They need to have, they need to have these applications installed, right? And these so and so applications installed, and they need to configure those applications, with the certain steps involved, right? Let's say as an example. So you did all that stuff, those tasks. So you tested it, you got a laptop, you installed all those things, make sure it's working, that one app is talking to the other, all whatever you need to configure on it. Everything is good. Now what? But tomorrow, let's say you have to configure 100 laptops, right? In the next 2 months. Now, let's say after a week you get that new laptop, because now we need to configure that to, let's say you're an IT support, you need to configure to another employee. but you forgot and you never noted it down what you did to configure those software, because some of the software can be very complex, right? It has to go through a lot of steps of setting it up in a certain order, but you forgot because you already did it, you finished and done. Now you have to again start back and figure out each software. How do I need to configure this thing, right? We are reinventing the wheel again. So once you have a solution, right? You did your task, you know, sometimes, the task, like I'm talking about setting up a laptop. Let's say there's another co-worker who also sets up laptops, let's say, right? Let's say you're on vacation. Now, who's going to set up the laptop? It's that your other coworker, right, who's taking your responsibilities. But he needs to know how to configure those laptops and the application. So it could be you may forget actual steps, or it could be somebody else who's going to do it for you, right? Because you're off, you're taking a sick leave, or you're off on a vacation. So it's always good to document what you have uh, learned, built, designed, whatever it may be, right? Through hard work, all the thinking, all the effort you put in. You don't want to repeat all that again. So you want to document it, right? So it's just coming up with solutions, solving it, finishing task is not enough. Wherever it is applicable, you need to document that steps, right? It could be a how-to article, right? It could be a solution diagram, like you come up with a new process. So you put a diagram of that one. So that way it's easy to communicate. Let's say, you have 100 other people that you work with, they're all interested in it because they want to use your solution in their own systems, for example, right? Everybody will come and, hey, tell me, explain me how this works. You will get bored, like repeating the same thing, first to do this, do this, do this, you need to order this piece, and right. But if you have a diagram that easily share, with all your proper comments, the steps involved, how the whole flow works, right? Then it becomes easy to share that knowledge. So they won't bother you wasting your time, and you won't get bored or bombarded with people keep coming and asking questions. Same thing with troubleshooting, right? It could be a document. So let's say, oh, okay, if the laptop is, the BIOS is not updated, or if it is not this version of Windows, or if you didn't install this other piece of software, this one is dependent on that one, right? So, those are all troubleshooting. Let's say you accidentally run into some issue, but you figured out the solution, by Googling it, or you're trying different things. So that also is a important information, right? Because somebody else may run into the same problem, right? So in that case, they don't have to start struggling again, searching Google or trying all the 100 different things they can think of. You already found a solution, so we should document it so everybody's time is saved, right? So why do all this? Others do not have to reinvent the wheel. You do not have to reinvent the wheel because you'll forget after 3 months, after under 2 3 projects, you forget what you did 3 months ago, how exactly you solved. That you will see in your even day-to-day stuff, right? You might have forgotten a password because you created an account 3 months ago and you didn't care to write it down or put it there somewhere, right? So by documenting it nicely, professionally, to the point, crisp, wherever diagrams possible, formatting, formatting the document. Don't start typing, without any all grammatical errors. There is no head or tail. There's no subdivision like, this is This is section 1 overview, section 2, these are the prerequisites, right? Section 3, like that. So if you properly document it, which is easily readable, people will like you. You're making their jobs easier too. Remember, when it comes to performance evaluation, the manager will ask all the rest of the team, all these things will impact your performance evaluation as well, right? What others think of you. So when you help others be successful, with your own contribution, like documenting it properly, they will like you. They'll be much happier. You're making their tasks easier. And on the bonus, you also have trail of all your accomplishments, right? Because you did this project or this task, and these are all the details of it, right? Some very small things you don't need to. But if something more little bit, even that takes a few hours of work or a few days of work to repeat to get to that point, then it's better to document. Okay. So those are the 5 different important qualities from my experience of 33 years, what I'm looking for. So these are the five, just going back to my original slide. Ownership. You own whatever is that you're given to or you accepted it, right? You have to own it. Then you ask the right questions. That means when you need help from others, you have to minimize the time. You have to make effective use of their time and your time together. That means you have to prepare, ask the right questions. Third, don't problems to your manager. You always problem and go with a proposed solution. So you need to propose some solution, if you can, right? Majority of the time you should be able to. It's a very rare situation you don't have a solution. It could be multiple solutions or it could be single solution. If it's multiple, you go with a good recommendation. I will say this solution is the best because of so and so reasons, right? Fourth, be your own manager when your manager is not around. Remember, you don't want your manager to micromanage you, coming every 15 minutes and looking over your shoulder what you are doing because he doesn't trust you. You don't want to be in that position. You be your own manager. That means the manager has to, once he gives the task to you, he should go, not worry about it. He can sleep well. He knows it will get done, right? He doesn't need to follow up with you because you won't forget it. So yeah, when the manager is not around, you have to be your own manager. You commit on something, then you keep track of that one, you work on that one, you deliver on that, right? And the 5 is documenting whatever you've finished. If it is useful for others or even for useful to you, if you need to repeat it anytime, you need to document it. All right. So, that is the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing this. So, my question is as a manager, do you have a process for mentoring and developing your employees?
Yes. So mentoring is developing. That is, you're talking about skill sets, right? So let's say you need to know Java or some other skill that you need. You should be able to talk to your manager about that one. Again, right? That is something that you need. Either you can go learn on your own, you can spend some time on it, but the manager is aware of it, or you want the manager to invest money in training you for that one, then again you need to discuss with him on how to improve those skills, you know, and the training for those, right? Most of the time nowadays, you know, there's a lot of companies, right? Big companies, they have a training programs, right? But if you don't have a, let's say if it's a small company or they don't have a good training programs, you know, there's always outside, right? There is a Udemy, there's a Apple University, there is a Coursera. There's a lot of online courses available, right? That you pick, that you research, you say, okay, these three training courses are good for me to accomplish this thing. You talk to your manager and say, this one is the best because of this, and I should be able to do this, right? It goes back to like how what we are talking about, right? You did your homework, you go and present it and say this is how it will help. Make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And what are the qualities to promote an employee?
Qualities to promote an employee. If you do all this, you're putting yourself in the front for promotion, right? If you can do five of these dedicated, you know, if you can inculcate, you know, that means make these five as part of your work habits, right? Work habits is all the habits that you show at work, right? At home, we have some habits, right? We get up, brush teeth, right? Brush our hair. Like that, there are work habits. And if you follow these five things as work habits, you already put yourself in the front for promotion.
Yes, sir.
Because the once the manager knows that you're gonna, you know, these are the, then you want to increase your responsibilities. That means your role grows bigger. That means you're getting promoted, right? Because he knows he can trust you with all these things.
Yes, sir. Sangeeta, go.
Good evening, sir. First of all,
Hi, Sangeeta.
thank you so much, sir, for giving us your very precious time and for your valuable presentation, sir, which help us to
Absolutely.
become a best personality at our working places and in our lives too, sir. The five
Yeah.
qualities that you said are just speechless, sir. That's why everyone says experience matters a lot. They are just awesome, sir. We are gonna start developing that qualities within us from now, sir. The qualities are not only gonna helpful for employee, but for everyone in their own perspective, sir. Sir,
Exactly. Yeah.
can we know?
It could be, it's not just about work. All these qualities help with your friendships or anybody, right? You, once you
Yes,
commit,
sir. Yes, sir.
you promise somebody, you keep your promise, right? It's similar to
Yes,
that.
sir. Which helpful for us to grow, sir.
Yes.
When we implement and develop the qualities within us, they help us to grow more and more, sir.
Yes. Absolutely.
Can we know something about
The
how
and you're
managers
all
should be?
very young, right? You're all very
Yes, sir.
young. The remember the, you know, the you remember the saying, you know, you can't teach tricks to an old dog, right? The younger, it means it becomes difficult. It doesn't mean you cannot teach, right? But at a much, you're all very young, right? So at a very young age, if you build all these good work habits, you will be, you know, sky is the limit, right? You will be
Yes,
not
sir.
be climbing the ladder in your success, right, in your career, but you will be leaping through, right? You will be leaping multiple steps at a time. Got it, Sangeeta? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, can we know something about how managers should be to make their employees feel comfortable? Because when we feel comfortable with someone, there is a scope of expressing our views, ideas, work processes, and everything with more efficiently and accurately.
Yeah,
So,
so
can
as
we
a
know?
manager, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, can we know something about how managers should be to make their employees feel comfortable with them?
Yeah. So managers, first of all, is two things, right? Even though he is a manager or she is a manager and your employee, the distinction goes away when you're working together, What that means is, let's say I'm discussing a problem or a topic, right? Or anything. It's a discussion between two individuals, right? So the employee is comfortable with the manager when they're able to discuss it openly, whatever the topic they're doing, without uh, how do I say, without muddying the conversation uh, with, hey, I'm the manager, you're the employee, right? There's no sincere discussion. Just do whatever I say. I don't come with me with discussing this your views or your opinion, wasting my time. So that is not a supportive or let's say positive environment there, right? When we are discussing on something, I'm not a manager, you are not an employee. We are discussing on a specific topic or a problem or a task or whatever, right? With very open, as equals, we are discussing, right? Intelligent discussion. That's one thing, right? He is not, that means he is not bringing that relationship into every discussion that's going on with you. That's how he makes you count. Second is being supportive. That means, let's say you did a mistake. That's not the end of the world. But if you repeat the same mistake, that is a problem. Everybody does mistakes. But we need to learn from the mistakes and avoid repeating those mistakes. Right? So that's what the manager also. That means, if you just do one mistake and it just comes down you with a hammer or like so strong, then you're afraid to do mistakes. You're afraid to even forget doing mistakes. You're afraid to come up with taking risks and coming up with better solutions, right? Because you think it's risky with him. So he needs to be supportive in that way, right? So those are the two things: being supportive, being encouraging, and being having open, frank, and intelligent discussions. That's
Yes,
my
sir. Very
opinion.
true, sir. We are grateful having you, sir.
Yeah,
Having you here, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
yeah,
you so much,
yeah.
sir.
I'm very thrilled when Shravan sir asked me to do this presentation. I always he always talk very great about the ESL, every one of you. I never really directly talked to you. Just this today is the first time, but he has always very good things to say about you, all of you. How not only you worked hard, but how you're successful or showing the results through your hard work, right? Just doing hard. See, if you do just hard work, it's not enough, right? You need to work hard and work smart. Then only you will see the results. And he has good things to say about all of you on both fronts. You work hard and you also becoming smart and working smart. So
Wow,
I'm
thank you, sir. That
very
means a lot for
proud.
us.
I'm, I'm very proud of you all, and I'm thrilled to be here talking to all of you, Sangeet. I mean it.
Thank you,
We
sir.
don't
Your
have
words means
any
a lot for
question.
us, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure. Yeah. I have 2 more minutes left. Um, you can send me questions in the email if you think of any other questions. I will share this PowerPoint with Shravan, or I don't know who, but Shravan can share with you. Um, so you have a copy of it. You can always look back. But I have another meeting that I need to attend to.
Hey, Shravan.
So
Uh,
I have 2 minutes. Oh, Shravan.
yeah, I just joined about a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Hey, thank you for doing this. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Please go to your next meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Swapna, do you have any final comments?
Yes, sir. Shall I conclude this session with an out of time?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, sir. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. My heart fills with lots of gratitude and respect for our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Shravan Miriala sir. So now I would like to share a gratitude card to Shravan Miriala sir. Wonderful and amazing. Wow, it was wonderful and amazing talk. Thank you for pinpointing every single thing a employee thinks while hearing a employee. Thank you for answering all our questions, doubts with patience. Thank you for accepting our invitation and giving us a talk by spending your valuable time. Thank you. Top gratitude.
You are welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Bye, Shravan.
Bye, Sharon. I'll send you the deck you can
Yeah,
share with the team.
I
Okay.
will do that. Please do.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.